Welcome back to Married with Children, the podcast. And another exciting night tonight. We were just joking, Kallie, before we came live on air that it kind of feels like we've become the musicians show, which is cool.
Yeah.
I was telling Justyn before we started that the cool thing for me in the podcasting deal is that I get to talk to people that can do things I can't. And the best thing that I play is my iPhone. So
You have a guitar.
I do. Don't currently know where it's at.
It's upstairs somewhere.
It's kind of my good buddy Brandon Allman always says he wants to buy it off of me, so it's kind of like my retirement, I guess. Not that it's worth enough for me to retire on, but I'm just holding out because at some point I'm gonna learn how to play it. So, all right, before we introduce Justyn here and we get in, let's thank our sponsors. Looking for a new tattoo? Looking for a professional piercer to add to your body art? There's no reason to drive to Indy or Louisville. Just visit Beauty from Ashes Tattoo Parlor in Crothersville, Indiana. Beauty from Ashes is located just past the Dollar General on Highway 31. Stop in and check out the amazing work done by all 4 artists at the shop. Each artist has a unique and personal style, but all do amazing work. The shop is family friendly, so don't hesitate to bring your kids or loved ones with you when you stop by to get some ink. Check out all the artists' work on their Facebook page and book an appointment today with either Kyle, Martha, Billy, or Lily. You won't be disappointed. Beauty from Ashes Tattoo Parlor, Crothersville, Indiana. We've all heard horror stories about insurance companies and insurance agents. Let me tell you about my family's agent, Tommy Taylor. Tommy is an agent at Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and is a multi-line agent that can keep all your insurance in one place. Why is a dedicated agent so important? When you have the unexpected occur, you'd much rather know the person on the other end of the phone. Contact info for Tommy, 812-372-4483 at extension 2447, or look him up on Facebook at Tommy Taylor, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't be another horror story. Stop knocking on wood and relying on a 1-800 number. Trust Tommy Taylor today. Miller's Termite and Pest Control is the only place you need to look for pest control. Don't get roped into contracts or high prices with the big companies. Reach out to someone who cares about you. They can handle any problem from termites, bed bugs, ants, spiders, etc. They also do lawn care. Where else can you keep the bugs out of your house and your yard looking sharp? Reach out to them today on Facebook at Miller's Termite and Pest Control. Email at pest_n_peace@yahoo.com or by phone at 812-767-5657. And I just do want to say here personally, thank you to all of those sponsors. I can say personally that I know that a lot of celebrities say this, so I'm not trying to put myself in celebrity status, but all 3 of those sponsors truly are people that we use their services.
Right.
I mean, Miller's takes care of our house. Since we have had them spray, we have seen no bugs.
Yeah.
It's about time for him to come back out again.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Taylor is our family's insurance agent and covers all of our insurance needs. And Kyle McIntosh at Beauty from Ashes Tattoo Parlor is my personal tattoo artist. So all 3 of those are people that we have services from. The tattoo studio is probably one that you wish I used a little less than what I do.
Yeah,
but
you use it more than me.
Yes, much more. So I do want to bring in our guest tonight, and it is Justyn Underwood from Justyn Underwood and the Sodbusters. And Justyn, man, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
If you want to pull that mic up just a little bit closer to you there. There you go.
That work?
That's better. And so, Justyn, I kind of always start with this with musicians because, again, like I said, it's something I don't have much ability to do. But where did you get this love for music, and where did it come from?
It started as early as my mom's got an old home video of me about 2 years old, and I was jumping around crazy, running around the house, dancing to Billy Ray Cyrus's "Achy Breaky Heart."
Oh, that's awesome.
And from then on, I was always really intrigued by it. I'd sit in my room by myself and listen to, we had this old CD, and it was like, you ever see those Drew's Ultimate Hits, like at Walmart or something?
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It was one of those, but it was like frat rock of the 80s or something. And it had Freebird on it, and it had some Peter Frampton. And I was always really intrigued with mostly the guitar. And then, ironically, later I was a drummer first, but then thought I'd pick up the guitar. So
Cool.
So you started out on the drums,
Yeah.
and what led you to the drums?
Well, we'd at that time I was really interested in football in school, and so we'd go to the high school football games. And what was his name? He was named Sean. He played the quads. I can't remember his name, in the drum line of the band.
Okay.
And I was always really fascinated watching him play and the whole everything being in sync. And I thought when I got to 6th grade, I didn't want to be in band because there's always that band nerd label. And so I didn't do it the first trimester. And then when the second one came, I said, okay, I want to do band, but I want to play drums. And my mom's first cousin is the band director. And so he let me choose what I wanted to do. And so I got in it there. I think Mom bought me a drum set around that time, and I would annoy her at night playing that in my room. And I played that all the way through high school till I got my senior year. They had that Mr. BCHS contest.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I can't drum and win that. So
Because they already know you can.
yeah, everybody's already seen me do that.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I need to pick up the guitar and see if I can try to sing a little bit. So I did, and
That's kind of cool.
yeah.
Interesting.
And I'll be honest, that's I love that you tell the story about the drum line, because before coming to Jennings County, I was in Evansville, and not to like go back to the movie Drumline, but like drum lines in the city are a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
And the drum line led our football team out onto the field, and the tricks they could do and the beats they could play, that was like the coolest thing. Like I would always laugh. I would catch myself paying attention. Here I'm a coach. I'm getting ready to coach this game, but I'm really paying attention to the drum line because they're getting it, man. And that was always so cool.
The work they put into it is really awesome.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
product is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I was never a guy that was in band. We had to hire a new band director this year at the high school I'm at. So I actually went to band camp with them and to kind of evaluate some of the candidates, and went through some of the stuff. And I was blown away. I mean, like even growing up, and that's what I told some of the kids, I said, I've not watched a whole lot of band performances because I was either playing and in the locker room at halftime,
Right.
or even in my adult life, I've been coaching and I was in the locker room at halftime. So I said, these were some of the first times I really got to, learn what the band could do. And, there is that stigma there, but I'm going to tell you what, there's some talented cats that are in high school marching bands. So you make this move to guitar for Mr. BCHS. Had you been playing guitar prior to that?
I had got one given to me as a gift, and I learned like 3 chords on it, but I didn't really dive into it a whole lot. But then when I decided I wanted to do the contest, I was like, okay, I need to learn a song. So I really was fascinated with Keith Whitley's version of When You Say Nothing at All. Being a 90s kid, you always heard the Alison Krauss version.
Mm-hmm.
But when I heard a man do it, I was like, oh, that's cool. I can do that song now. So I learned that and did it, and I don't know, there's probably 400 people in that auditorium.
Yeah.
And it was just me and the guitar and first real time playing in front of people. And I shook like a leaf and thought I did horrible. I ended up winning it, but I don't know how, because I sounded like I was probably having a heart attack up on the stage. But
That's amazing, how different versions of songs can sound.
yeah.
I was listening to the radio this morning, and they were talking about Joe Cocker's version of Need a Little Help from My Friends, and talking about, here's a guy that took a Beatles song and redid it, and his cover version is probably better than the original Beatles version.
Yep.
And it's amazing, when you start digging into some of these songs. I mean, we were talking the other day, you go back to, Tennessee Whiskey. I mean, that song, there's so many people now that have no idea that that's not one of his originals.
And then it doesn't even resemble
What
the
it used to-
original at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally changed. So that's a really, really cool deal. So then you win Mr. BCHS. Is that kind of when you decided, okay, I'm gonna make the full jump to guitar?
Yep. And from then on, I still played drums in the praise team at church because I was the only one that knew how. And occasionally, when the worship leader was gone, I'd fill in and play guitar, and then I would bring in somebody I knew to play drums for me. So I got to fill in some playing guitar there. But then once I started after Mr. BCHS, my mom can tell you I sat for 3 and 4 hours a night playing along with all kinds of my favorite tunes on the computer. She bought this brand new Dell computer, and I pretty much hijacked it And every CD I had, I ripped to that
Oh yeah.
Windows Media Player, and I would just play for hours. And it kind of took off from there. Then I got an electric one and thought, once I learn these acoustic parts, I want to try to learn some of these lead parts. So then I did it even more. I mean, it was like every night. But
That's so, and that's, you know, a lot of the things that we've talked to people about, and you know, kids today, I think sometimes miss the boat because, you know, anything you're really good at takes so much time and effort to be really good at
Right.
it. And I think kids today, sometimes if they're not really good at it the third time they do it, and I'm guilty too. That's part of the reason with
Yeah.
guitar. I have never had the time to invest to sit down and
Yeah.
just learn to play. And yeah, I've not done that. So to hear that, the amount of time it took you to continually learn that is pretty amazing.
it does. I mean, it takes. You have to have a desire to do it, and it has to
Yeah.
be fun
Mhm.
while you're doing it. If you're not having fun, you're not doing yourself any favors. So, you know, I just thought it was the neatest thing that I could play something somebody else did, and I thought, okay, I'm really doing something now. So,
So was that the first time that you had sang in front of someone too?
one time when I was in probably, I'm gonna say 5th grade, maybe, my mom made me sing at church, and I had
That's why I
that
didn't know if you had sang at church
I had
before that
the-
or anything.
pre-puberty boy voice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cracking and
Oh man, it was awful. It was something. I think it was something on Mother's Day, and I got nominated to sing.
It's one of those. It's
At
Mother's
church.
Day, so it's like if your mom wants you to do it, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, well, I got to do it, but man, that was miserable.
so I mean, it sounds like, I mean, is your mother musical as well? But it sounds like she has honestly pushed you, or I don't know if I want to say push, but encouraged you in
Yeah.
this a lot.
She's been my number one fan forever.
I mean,
And
she bought you a drum
she,
set. I mean, I'm fighting against a drum set ever coming on the property right now. So,
Now, she doesn't play anything. She can sing better than she lets on.
mhm.
Mhm.
But my dad, he was, which I never really met him until I was probably 16 or so, but he is very musical.
Really,
So he plays guitar and sings pretty much just like I do. And so I inherited that honest. And it's been fun. It makes you cool at all the bonfires and parties you go to.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I'm sure.
100%.
It might kind of, like be cool in one part, but then sometimes you may want to just want to chill, and everybody's like, "Come on, sing," but it's
Well,
cool.
yeah.
It's cool to have that friend that it's like I don't have to do it, but I can hear somebody else do
It
it.
turned into, like, I used to play out at Slab Road a lot before, kind of before Forrest even got serious with playing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think he used to just sit around a little bit and pick, but I had already taken the jump to, I really want to
Right.
do this. And out there, I got to a point thinking, I think these guys only love me for my
Yeah.
guitar.
That's the only reason.
I was like,
Well, I laugh. When I was in high school, I had a good buddy, and he's gotten way, way better. He's much, much more talented now. But in high school, I mean, he was learning, and he really only had like 3 songs down. But I think every bonfire, we listened to those 3 songs like 100 times a night. It'd be like, hey, play that again. And it's like, we listened to the same 3 songs, but it was just so cool to sit and listen to him, and everybody would sing along. But it was kind of the same deal. I always felt for him. It's like as soon as he'd pull up to something and be like, "Hey, dude, you got your guitar?
Yeah.
Get it out."
yeah, and that's what they say when you're ready to start. And the
Let me
longest
chill for
I
a
ever
little bit.
played out there, they made me do it for 8 hours one time.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my goodness.
I mean, we went till like 4 in the morning, and I couldn't talk the next day. I couldn't
Oh, yeah.
touch nothing with my left hand, but it was fun while
Yeah.
we were doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and then obviously you played in the high school band. Did you also were you in some like garage bands or your own band during high school?
No, the first band I ever joined was about 3 years ago.
Really? So kind of where did you go from Mr. BCHS and finishing that up your senior year and then joining a band 3 years ago? Where's the process there?
I stayed mostly. I played in church a lot, so I guess if you counted that as a
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
But I always did an acoustic country thing, either with buddies, and then I don't know, it's probably been 5 years ago now, but Mason Fleetwood at Blondie's would have me in some, and John at Blake's place would have me come play some, and after that they shut it down because they got in trouble for having live music, and apparently I don't know if I'm probably going to be incorrect saying this, if it's ASCAP or what, but somebody with copyright laws or something
Oh.
shut them down because I guess you have to pay this association a fee every year
to have like
to
a
have
band.
live music because they're
Oh.
making money on it. You're making money on them being there and bringing a crowd. So everybody that's big time has to get a cut out of that, I guess.
Wow.
And so
We
after
better-
that,
We better be careful with all the guys we've got coming on and playing.
Yeah, because we're not paying anybody.
Well, but I will say this was crazy last week, and I was telling the guys that were on with Sounds of Summer, but they sang Surfer Girl here a
Yeah.
cappella, or not a cappella, but all together. When I posted that to YouTube, YouTube hit it that it was the Beach Boys, and I'm like, oh my gosh! I mean, this was a a live performance here, but YouTube
Yeah.
picked up on it right away. It
they
was
take
like,
it serious.
yeah, absolutely. So that, I mean, and that's, I hate that. I know it's not the artists that push that because it's not the artist that's getting that cut. It's some executive somewhere.
Yep.
Right.
But you know, that's what kills that, you know, those up and coming guys. I mean, you look at all of those that you talk about, some of the great cover songs. They were done when they were coming up and making something their own and learning that process. So I hate to hear that. So
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but you know, one thing leads to another, and eventually, you know, I did get a shot at being in a band with. Did you ever see Lawless play back in the day?
Oh, I think so.
I mean, I know that you were a part of that. I
Those
remember
guys.
seeing it on Facebook.
Well, I was a part of the after Lawless. We had a Christian rock band,
Okay.
and I played with those guys from Lawless. We had a Christian group that we actually played around at, you know, different churches and stuff. I mean, I think the farthest we probably went was somewhere maybe in Brown County.
Okay.
North Vernon, we played over in North Vernon some. But we wrote our own songs there, and we did have a CD.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, you know, bands come and go, members come and go. I ended up breaking up, and then as soon as that was over, I was like, you know, I still want to do something. I've always had this desire to do a country band, so I thought, what a great opportunity! This is the right time to try it. So here I am, and it's been going good so far. I haven't heard any bad things yet.
So, do you guys write your own music in Justyn Underwood and the Sodbusters? Have you put together some songs?
Yeah, I've been the only one writing so far. I've talked to my acoustic player, who's one of my best friends, about trying to collaborate a little bit. We just haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I think I've got 2 that I've been consistently playing. 2 more that I'm about to start incorporating into the show.
How do you make that decision when you think it's ready to put in a show?
Well, the one I'll play for you, or probably both, the 2 that I'm consistently doing, those just kind of came. I just had a thought and sat down, wrote them, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, had the words. And usually when I get the words in my head, I've got the music in my head as well. I can usually remember, that's one of my weaknesses, is I can't remember words all the time, but I can remember a note. And I can always hear something melody-wise, maybe not the right words. Usually I get pretty frustrated coming up with words for songs, and if I try to forcing words does not work for me.
Well, and I think Forrest even talked a little bit about that when he was on, talking about with, you know, working with other guys is, you know, you can write a line and it just doesn't fit. You know, it doesn't fit. And somebody else looks at it, and within 15 seconds, they're like, well, just say it like this. And it's saying the same thing, but it just flows. And that's what it amazes me, you guys' ability to do that. When I've listened to interviews with other musicians, you know, what you just said is what I hear all the time. I've constantly got this melody in my head, this tune in my head. You know, I listen to, I forget who it even was now, but on the Howard Stern show, and they were talking about different sounds even in the world. You know, I know who it was Mark Ronson, that does a lot of Bruno Mars stuff, and talking about some of the beats and things he's created. He goes, I can hear a car horn honk with, you know, this melody I got, and he's like, now I've got it. I know where I'm going with it. So it's amazing to me to see guys like you that have that ability, because I don't. I just truly, I could sit here for days on end and never come up with a melody or a song.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. It's not one of my strong suits. Probably I need more practice at it, really.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, I would say, I mean, you probably get better maybe the more you do, I mean, you just kind of, that flow comes, and then I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've written more than I even said a second ago, but I don't even count those first ones because they're so horrible to me. The longer I've done it, the better they've got. And I think if I would just try to do, if I try to write a song a week or something, it would have to help you.
Yeah.
But when you work a
Yeah.
full-time job
Yeah.
and you have other things going on, and especially now, you try to prepare for a gig on the weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that are doing this that are big time, they're riding on a bus for
Hours on end. Yeah.
And then they're waiting 2
And
and
so
3
that-
hours before a show. And
Yeah. Well, and they're riding on a bus with some of their other, guys in their band, to where it's
Yeah.
like they can all kind of bounce ideas, or like you said, I mean, help each other out with some of it too,
that's
probably.
what's frustrating to me. Like I know I could collaborate, but I don't know enough people that are really into
Yeah.
songwriting. I've got plenty of material just from life
Yeah.
that's happened to
Yeah.
me, but I can't put it all into song yet.
Right. Right.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've tried multiple times to write one. I lost my younger brother probably, I think it's 7 years ago now.
Has it been that long?
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
have tried 2 and 3 times to write a
Yeah.
song for him, and I can't get one I like.
Yeah.
Someday it'll happen.
Oh
but
yeah. Yeah.
And I think those songs are, I'm assuming, are probably the toughest to write, but also
Yeah.
when you get it, it's probably going to be one of your best that you'll write.
Yeah.
That's what I figure too. Like Blake Shelton, he's not even much of a songwriter, but that one he did with Miranda Lambert, that Over You, about his brother.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like 20 some years or so after his brother's
Right.
accident, and I'm thinking, well, maybe someday
Yeah.
I'll get it. But
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out here. Hopefully he's still on, as Cody Eichert logged in here, and Cody Eichert and the Sidewinders, and shout out to him. I appreciate you always listening, brother. And for anybody watching, Cody's going to be back on here in probably the next month or so. We're going to get something worked out to get him back on. So shout out to him, talking a little music. But Justyn, do you want to go ahead and kind of break this up here and play one here, and then
Sure.
we can come back and talk a little bit more?
yeah. I tuned a second ago, but I forgot this first one I'm going to do. I needed to tune a string down, so bear
You're
with
fine.
me here.
We get to hear the process.
And I'm weird. I use, you know what harmonics are?
A little bit.
Like, there's that, and then I don't know. It seems to be more accurate. So usually when I tune, people are looking at me like a dog would, if you heard a funny noise. But... All right, this one I'm going to do. I've been doing every show since I released it, really. I mean, I don't have a record or anything, but I've released it out to the public to be able to hear it. And my cousin is a truck driver, and I wrote this. It was really, what inspired it was he posts a lot to Facebook when he's trucking about things that are going on the road. And I thought, we need another trucker anthem. So
I love it.
I called this Rolling Down the Road. It's 2:30 in the morning, and I'm rolling down southbound 65. 1,500 miles and bloodshot eyes, and a couple hot cups of coffee by my side. Sometimes I get to wishing I didn't do this for a living, but it's who I am, and I damn sure love the ride. 'Cause it takes a man with some patience and a famous reputation for running long and hard both day and night. You gotta be tough and a little rough, and it's a damn good thing to be proud of. It's in my heart and my soul, so I'll keep this big rig rolling down the road. Don't ever get a good night's rest. Ain't got a whole lot of time to waste. Gotta get this load to Tucson and be back home by sundown on Friday. Still many miles to go. Gotta keep those bears off my back door. 18 wheels are rolling with my boot mashed to the floor. 'Cause it takes a man with some patience and a famous reputation for running long and hard both day and night. You gotta be tough and a little rough, and it's a damn good thing to be proud of. It's in my heart and my soul. So I'll keep this big rig rolling down the road. It takes a man with some patience and a famous reputation for running long and hard both day and night. You gotta be tough and a little rough, and it's a damn good thing to be proud of. It's in my heart and my soul. So I'll keep this big rig rolling down the road. I'll keep this big rig rolling down the road.
That was awesome.
That was good. I like it.
That was awesome. And I think the cool thing is, and to touch on, what you just said with writing about things that your life, and that's, with Colt on here and Forrest and all these guys, what I love about it is when I listen to today's country music, and that's a whole nother show.
Oh,
yeah. But when I listen to today's country music, that's what's missing. And because let's be honest, today's country music is more pop than it really is country. But when you go back to some of those songs in the 90s, and when you go back even farther in rock music and country music, those were their anthems. I mean, when you talk about Skinner, man, that they were singing about the Southern man's plight and what they were going through, and that's what I love about hearing you play. That's a song that you have a connection to. You talk about your cousin and right. that trucker mentality. So that was awesome.
Thank you.
How long ago have you written that?
Let's see, probably a couple months now.
Okay,
maybe.
So that's a fairly recent one then.
Yeah, and
I would say.
You know what I do when now with the band. I don't have fancy recording stuff.
Right.
Do you guys have iPhones or?
Yeah.
They have the GarageBand app.
Oh, yeah.
And I will sit and I'll play, every part of it and put it in a rough recording, and the vocals sound horrible going through an iPhone, but it's enough to, take the practice, say, hey guys, this is what I'm looking for. And
cool.
The finished product ends up sounding a lot like what I had in mind. So it's been cool getting to do that, and I've done that with probably everyone I've done, but they're going well, or it's doing well live out of places we've been playing. People especially have had a lot of truckers come just to hear that one.
Yeah.
And I know there's obviously there's a cost to everything in life.
Oh yeah.
Have you looked into, maybe doing some recording of some of these songs and getting them out?
I would like to. I'd like to have more originals to put on it that I feel truly, solid
to
about.
be able to put them.
Because I've watched other interviews with like Colt and Forrest, and they talk about you get maybe half a song wrote, and you can't ever finish it.
Yeah,
I've got a bunch like that too.
Yeah.
I think that's just something every songwriter probably
I'm
has.
sure that's true. Yeah,
and then you may get one finished, but it might not be exactly what you want, and come back to it a year later or so. So I've got some that I could mess with, but I'd like to see if I could get maybe a few more new ones done and do like 5-6 song EP just to start.
Yeah.
And then maybe work toward getting a bigger project put together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love it. So let's transition here. You kind of touched on it a little bit at the beginning, but who are those big influences for you? When you're writing a song, who are those big musical influences that come back in for you?
I'd say Waylon Jennings probably to start.
Mm-hmm.
he was he was very good at playing guitar, especially for the time or the era that he was playing in. And it was cool that he played a little bit of lead and sang too and wrote songs, and so that's somebody I really would connect with.
And that's a great point, because even though I do love old school country, when you go back and look at some of the guitar in that, it's not real complicated. Waylon was really the one that kind of pushed that.
Yeah, he was like a pioneer of that, adding a little bit of grunge to the country. And I'm sure some people probably hated him that were, big, I don't know, George Jones, Hank Williams fans especially.
Yes.
But
which is funny, because when you look at Hank Williams Sr. versus Hank Williams Jr., there's that transition right there, man. And Junior had that edge to him the whole time. So,
yeah, probably Waylon. I like Cash. I mean, a lot of people like Cash. It's hard to go wrong with his sound. It's just cool. To me, nobody's ever come close to duplicating his voice and the way his band meshed together and
the way he changed over. I mean, that, and I know some people don't like it, but that Rick Rubin album, before his death, when he, if you'd have told me he's one of the Mount Rushmore of classic country, he still sounded great, but he transformed so many times and could do so much stuff. He's mind blowing. So, all right, so we got Cash, we got Waylon.
Well, one of my all-time favorites, and he's still out there. I mean, he's in Cody Jinks. He's probably top two, probably. I'm a huge Jinks fan.
And that is the cool thing. And we've talked a little bit with Cold and with Forrest and Cody Eichard when he was on, and you guys. That's the one thing. I pick on today's country music a lot, and I think it's fair, but there is really, really good classic country music, and that has the spirit of our times in it. When you talk about Cody Jinks, when you talk about Sturgill Simpson, who else am I thinking? Whitey Morgan in the 78s, Tyler Childers. I mean, there are some great groups out there to go find it. You just have to go find it.
Yeah. I mean, you just can't get it on the radio, or at least not around here. I've heard some people say, that Cody Jinks has a fan club called the Flockers, and on there's people talk about him being on the radio in Texas, but we just don't have that around here. And you're used to this Florida Georgia line, pop country stuff going on, and I only listen to the radio when there's no other option.
And I do too, and I'll be the first. And Brandon Allman just said Jamie Johnson. I agree with that one too. Jamie, that's one I left off. Jamie Johnson for sure. I don't listen to the radio very often either, and I'll be the first to admit there's some pop country songs that I think have a catchy beat that I'm okay with, because that's what they're made to do. There's some pop songs that I like, but overall, it's so saturated. It cracks me up, because I laugh today about pop country. It's everything, because I grew up a hip hop fan too. It's everything my mom used to make fun of rap music about. They talk about the same things all the time. It's the same three things. And I listen to country today and I'm like, that's all they talk about too. It is the same three things. It's a formula that they plug in things just to make music. It is not that heartfelt thing that we see.
Well, I mean, you don't hear like you made this trucker anthem. I mean, you don't hear stuff like that on the radio today. No. I mean, unless you're talking about, some of the artists like that you guys have talked about, Tyler Childers and those kind of things. I mean, you don't hear a lot of that, because it's not one of those two or three things that you hear on the radio.
No, when you listen to Tyler Childers sing a song like Cole, that he's talking about his father and what he did in West Virginia, that's got a whole different feel than a Florida Georgia line song that we just pulled out together, and we're gonna list the major things that people think are country. And the funny thing too about that is that cracks me up. A lot of their songs don't even make sense. They just throw things in there to make them rhyme. That's
something that gets it out quick, so they can get a little more money in. To me,
so they can put it. They can put it on that album to get it out. Again, so they can. I mean, they just want it turned quickly.
It's pop country, but it's pop, but it's bad pop. It's not even good pop.
I agree. I agree.
And it's one thing that really hit me one time. Jason Aldean's drummer, Rich Redmond, fascinating drummer. They put those stupid snap tracks or whatever they are behind it, and I'm like, why would you want to do that? It takes away from your talent.
Yeah.
Right.
You're cutting out part of your job. I mean, if that's the case, we'll just listen to some automated drum track all the time and be done with it.
Well, and it amazes me
Don't even set it up.
with some of these guys that, some of these pop country guys, their bands are extremely talented when they go play live, but when they're in the studio, they use these sampled tracks to go play. And I'm like, go take your whole band in the studio and do it that way. That you've got a sound there. And even in the pop, there are some. Eric Church, I think, still does it the right way.
Yeah, he's just went weird almost, but it's not pop.
He's got.
I think he's always just looking to push it a little bit more.
I think
he's kind of like an outlaw guy.
So.
He's kind of that guy that I think did what he had to do to get to the radio, and I think he's got it now. And he is kind of. I think he's one that kind of going back to Cash. I'm going to see how far I can push it because.
Yeah.
When are you going to tell me I'm done?
Every album he releases, I think it can't get any weirder than this last one. And then he sure enough, he does it. And listening to him on, I usually use Spotify.
Oh yeah.
But just listening to him in the car, I don't really care for him. But when I see videos of him doing those
playing
new songs
live,
he does live, they do seem to be energetic, and it's good for the entertainment aspect for sure.
I do want to say, first of all, Desiree Steinkamp said she introduced her students to Coulter Wall on Friday, and they were mind blown by how different that country sounded than what they heard on the radio. Also, Brandon Allman said a huge shout out to you, Justyn, for coming in to talk to the middle school FCA and play a few songs for them. The kids really appreciated it and loved you. And then,
that was fun.
Cool.
Matt Lamar said country needs more outlaws, not people playing only what producers wanting them to play. And I agree with that 100%. And it was funny. I was watching the Bristol NASCAR race today, and they talked about Bristol, Tennessee being the home of truly country music because it's where the recording started there. But, we talk about Nashville, but Bristol was really where it started. And you think about where Bristol's located. You've got West Virginia. You've got North. You got a lot of those, outlaw type people that are coming together there. And that's really what you are missing is guys that, weren't in it for $1. They were in it to, to survive, but not to make multi-millions of dollars.
Right. And doing it because they love it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what, that's why for me, I love having you guys in here and getting to go watch you guys play because you guys are doing it because you love it. And it's something that you're passionate about. It's not, oh my gosh, I got to go to Topeka, Kansas this weekend to play a show that I don't even remember what town I'm in when I get on stage. It is a passion for you. I mean, I love you before we came on talking about some of the locations you played in. And man, we really like this one. And this is so much fun. To see local live music is pretty special.
It is, and it does need support. We're all we're all just out there trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
You never know. The sky's the limit with music. I mean, a lot of people may like it, and it takes that support at the local level to get you to the next level.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And there's good and bad. We've talked about it on some of the other ones, with technology today. It gives you guys an outlet to be seen more. I mean, 50, 60 years ago, we wouldn't even be able to do this. We'd be at the mercy of, the radio stations.
Yeah.
And there was corruption back then, too. You had to slip the money to the DJ to make sure you got your stuff played. And so there is ability to get yourself out there more often through social media. But on the flip side, on the other hand, it's also encouraged a lot of people who shouldn't be putting out stuff to put stuff out. So, it's out there. Good music's out there. You just have to wade through a little bit to find it.
It's usually those guys that are out, they're more worried about touring and getting their music out there the hard way, doing the hard work. That's where you're going to find the best quality music to me.
And I'll say, kind of to back you up on what you just said, if you're not out going to local live music, you really are missing out. And I know that sometimes I hear people say, I don't like the bar scene, I don't like this, I don't like that. You don't have to go in, to to drink. I mean, you can go in and I'm going to tell you right now, the Thirsty Sportsman's right down here. We eat the food all the time. The food is tremendous
it's
down
good.
there.
Yeah.
Go in and have dinner and listen to some of the live music. It's something my wife and I have always liked doing since we've been together, and this area has a ton of live music options. And, very excited. I just saw in the newspaper this week that Brown County, the Little National Opry House is going to be reopened by wintertime. So
that's to see that.
That's cool.
That's a huge plus that's coming back. So but get out and see these guys that you just can't imagine how much fun it is to watch these local live acts and what they're doing, because the talent is unreal in this area.
Oh, there is. There's a lot out there, and a lot of people dying for a crowd to be able to play to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does make a difference when you're playing to nobody.
Talk about that a little bit, because I would think that has got to be, extremely tough when you've got a crowd that's either disinterested or just there's not anybody there.
Yeah, we see that. I mean, I try to incorporate in, when you got to play 4 hours, you got to do a bunch of covers. So I've tried to pick ones that would get people up dancing and really engaging with me and the band on stage. And there's usually a decent amount of people that'll dance and stuff and have a really good time. There's also people that would be like I would. If I was going to listen to somebody, I'd just sit there and listen. Yeah,
that's me. I'm going to pull up a chair in the back, in the corner where I've got a good view of the band, and I'm going to watch, and I'm probably singing along at the table. But
and I see people, doing that, or they're just sitting there, they're having a drink, they're bobbing their head.
Oh yeah,
that means a lot.
I was going to say, I think that, obviously I'm never on stage, but I think that would be, at least they're listening and they seem to be enjoying themselves. If they're, that is,
they have an appreciation for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume that I probably know this answer, but from what you've done in the past with all the stuff you played at church and Mr. BCHS and the band, was there any learning curve to interacting with the crowd there? I mean, because as the front man, you got to kind of be able to, talk to them and get them going and things like that.
Yeah, well, I heard Colt talking about when he was in here talking about he has trouble talking while he's on stage, and I've never had that issue. I've always liked public speaking and stuff, and I'm also an auctioneer.
Yeah.
And we have to get up and talk about certain things, and I've never been embarrassed to speak in front of people. So I'll get up and I'll crack jokes in between songs or something, or I'll introduce somebody or a song dedicated to somebody or something like that.
Yeah.
While we're playing, if I got time. Playing lead guitar and singing, you don't have a lot of time to think about something you're going to do. But if it does hit me in the middle of a song, I'll, try to do something to engage the crowd a little bit. But,
yeah.
And I would think the auctioneering part, I know some people probably think the actual calling of the auction, but I've been to a lot of auctions, and the best auctioneers, what they do is they make you want that box of crap that you didn't think you wanted, because they sell it to you or they combine items. So the ability to talk up the item is a huge thing at an auction to try and get that
just
going.
Give them that look like, come on.
Yeah, you want to be in.
They got the Tom Day that I work for. Something he always says is just money. You'll make more.
Yeah,
And then they'll usually
can't take
be
it
like,
with you.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And that's which we've talked on this show before. I have a bad habit at live auctions of buying things I don't need or spending too much money, but that's where I get in trouble. Is I never look at the total price.
Yeah.
When I'm in the competition, I'm way too competitive for live auctions. It's always just, it's only 10 more bucks. Yeah, I'm not looking at that total.
Yeah.
It sounds good when you're bidding on one item that's cheap, but after you've already spent $300,
I know.
you're like,
that's the thing he hasn't figured out. When you do that times about 7 items.
No, if you're clerking yourself as you're buying and writing down everything, it might make a difference. But you ain't got time for that, because we're trying to move through items.
My clerk is usually over here, and it's when I'm done, and she looks at me and she says, "You know how much money you spent?" Not sure.
Yeah.
She's like, "I got to go settle the bill."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, well,
I'm the one that pays."
It was only 10 more bucks. I mean, I couldn't lose. I had to go get it.
Deal I couldn't pass up.
Yeah. Well, his issue is the competitive part. Like, he just doesn't want to lose, kind of thing. It's like, Well, it's only $10 more dollars, and then I'll win. I think that's part of it.
Well, it is, because it is a competition for me. I want to win.
Which I'm sure as an auctioneer, you're totally good with that, because if you get two people like that,
yeah.
then it can really go higher than
Long as you-
expected.
yeah, as long as you don't be ghost bidding or something,
Oh, yeah.
taking imaginary bids on somebody. It's another way to get them fired up.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we're at about 46 minutes in here. You want to play another one?
Sure. I can do. I had a cover prepared. Have you heard Leroy Van Dyke's song called "The Auctioneer"?
I have, but I'd love to hear you play it.
Well, I was gonna say I could do that, or I could do another original. But
Why don't you do that one, and then we'll come back and let you finish up with another original.
all right, that'll work. See, this song is the actual reason I even got into auctioneering, because my mom said my papaw used to sing this to them when they were kids in the car, and they just thought it was cool. And I thought, I think I'll try to learn that, maybe do it for papaw sometime. Well, when I got into doing it, I was like, hey, I think I could do this.
Really?
I've got this.
So then I went to auction school, and that's it. That's how it happened.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
All thanks to Leroy Van Dyke. Now, as long as my lips are loosened up enough for this, we'll see. Oh, good grief. You'd think I'd done this before. I tuned it down. I didn't tune it back up. It's all right. That's typical live show. Something goes that
That's all
you
right.
didn't plan on. There we go. Hey, well, all right, sir. Open again a little man welcome. Here we come, a lot of number 29 here. What are you going to give for him? I just $600 down, 10 now, 20, number 20, number 29, 5, number 25, number 20, number 29, 5. There was a boy in Arkansas who wouldn't listen to his ma when she told him he should go to school. He'd sneak away in the afternoon, take a little walk, then pretty soon you'd find him at the local auction barn. He'd stand and listen carefully, then pretty soon he began to see how the auctioneer could talk so rapidly. He said, oh my, it's do or die, I've got to learn that auction cry, gotta make my mark and be an auctioneer. $25 bid and now the $30, 30, would you give me 30, make it 30, bit of it on a $30, would you give me 30, who'd bid a $30 bid? $30 bid and now the 35, would you give me 35, I'll make it a 35, a double to 35, who would have bid it at a $35 bid? As time went on, he did his best, and all could see he didn't jest. He practiced calling bids both night and day. His pap would find him behind the barn, just working up and off a storm as he tried to imitate the auctioneer. Then his pap said, son, we just can't stand to have a mediocre man selling things at auction using our good name. I'll send you off to auction school, then you'll be nobody's fool. You can take your place among the best. $35 bid and now the $40, 40, would you give me 40, make it 40, bit of it on a $40, would you give me 40, who'd have bid a $40 bid? $40 bid and now the 45, would you give me 45, I'll make it a 45, a bid at a 45, who would have bid it at a $45 bid? So from that boy who went to school, there grew a man who played it cool and came back home a full-fledged auctioneer. And the people came from miles around just to hear him make that rhythmic sound that filled their hearts with such a happy cheer. His fame spread out from shore to shore, he had all he could do and more. Had to buy a plane to get around. Now he's the tops in all the land, let's pause and give that man a hand. He's the best of all the auctioneers. $45 bid and now the $50, 50, would you give me 50, make it 50, bit of it on a $50, would you give me 50, who'd have bid a $50 bid? $50 bid and now the 55, would you give me 55, I'll make it a 55, a bit of a 55, I sold that hog for a $50 bill. Hey, well, all right, sir, open the gate and a little man and a welcome, boys. Here we come, a lot of number 29 in, what are you going to give for him? I get a $600 down, 10 now, 20, number 20, 20, number 29, 5, number 25, number 25, number 39, 5, number 35, number 35, number 35, number 49, 5.
That was awesome.
That was really good.
That's one you don't hear covered a lot.
No,
Yeah.
no, you got to have a unique talent to be able to go and cover that one. And I just think that's so cool that, honestly, that's why you went to auctioneer
I
school.
know. I like it.
Yeah.
So,
music again. It's
Yeah,
the
there
center
you
of
go.
everything I do.
There you
that is amazing. Did you play that in auctioneer school for him?
I did.
That's
Did
awesome.
you?
That
Yeah,
is
he said I
awesome.
was the first student to ever do that.
I
thought
love
it was
it.
That's true.
And we actually did it. Let's see, where was we at? Salt Creek Brewery.
Oh, I love that
And
place.
my acoustic player's dad, who's been a big supporter of mine through the years, he requested that I do that sometime, and I did it there. And ever since then, people have been eating that up. They just think it's cool. And, I just let the band play it. I don't even play it. I just sit there and hold my guitar, and, I'll act like I'm
Calling out bids.
taking some bids while we're doing the song. And
Well, again, I think it's kind of what we talked about. It's unique. It's something you don't hear covered, and obviously, and it's something that is just totally unique to what you can do. That was pretty awesome.
That is
what's
good.
different, even Leroy Van Dyke did. He had his own auction chant, and so I had to kind of work in using my own chant to make it work, and that took a little time. But
I wondered, like, if you were incorporated, like, your auctioneer chant or like the way that you say it.
yeah, because to like mimic somebody with an auction chant,
Yeah.
it just I don't even know if you can do it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think even if you tried, it would probably throw you off in your
I
actual
think it
day
would.
job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Whatever feels natural,
Yeah, I agree with
just
that.
make it work.
that's
Wow,
awesome.
That's so cool.
Well, before we have you play one last one, I do want to give you a chance to kind of tell people where you're going to be at, what's upcoming, where can people find your information? I know you got a Facebook page, those kind of things.
Yeah, we do. If you go to Facebook, it's my name. My first name's spelled different. It's Justyn, but it's Justyn Underwood and the Sodbusters. You can go to that. I've got everything posted except for one I just booked last night, which was another date at the Thirsty Sportsman in October.
Cool.
But this weekend, I'm doing an acoustic show at the Bluebird in Valonia.
Uh-huh.
And Saturday night, we're playing for the first time at Hardy's in Scottsburg, Hardy's Cafe.
They have
Oh.
been really pushing some live music on Saturday night.
Yeah, I've
so-
seen Ray Bowling with the Hickbillies. I've seen his post because he makes ads similar to me, and I've seen Hardy's on there a few times. So I thought, must be a pretty cool place. Seems like
Yeah.
they've got music in there. I think maybe Rusty Bladen might have been there before.
Yeah,
and-
they're
Okay.
some of the bigger name local guys I've seen
Yeah.
playing down there, and I thought I've never been down there, but that may be a place we
I
have
think
to hit
they
up.
They booked us this Saturday, and then they booked us once in like December. So we got a big gap there. But when the time frame that I hit trying to really do this, there was a lot of places already booked up, and I'm thinking next year hopefully we'll be even busier than we have been. We've been fortunate so far. We've had a lot of dates booked.
But you're pretty much somewhere every weekend.
We have been. Now this month we do have. I had this weekend off because of bachelor party, and then we got to play this weekend. The next weekend we're off because of the wedding, and then we're back to playing that next Saturday night, the 27th, at the Seymour VFW, and then I think we're booked every Saturday but one the next month.
Very cool.
So it's coming along. It just takes time.
Now I
Gotta
got
get your name out.
I got to ask this too. Where did you come up with the Sodbusters?
Man, I looked and looked trying to see something that would spark a name. We started it out just the Justyn Underwood band. And I thought, man, that's been used, this so-and-so's band. I think Clayton Anderson used that for a while.
Yeah.
It was the Clayton Anderson band. I'm trying to think of another one. But I thought, man, it just don't sound, it doesn't have a ring to it. And I actually got on like a thesaurus and, things. I love the Old West. I love Old Westerns.
Oh, yeah.
I love going out West. I just got back from a 10-day trip.
I was gonna say I've
From out
followed you on
west.
Facebook, and you had a good time, man. You were in some great spots.
We've seen some awesome stuff. So I wanted something with that, because it's country music. And
Absolutely.
it's that kind of outlaw type country music. And I looked through a bunch of words that were, centered around the West. And I seen Sodbusters, and I thought, nah, it's all right. And then I'd let it go for a couple months. And then I came back to it and thought, I think I can make that work. So we've done it, and I kind of like it now.
I agree with you, and I would be the first to say I do think that if it would have just been the Justyn Underwood band, I don't know that it would have caught my attention as much as when I see Justyn Underwood and the Sodbusters. It's like Cody Eichert, same way. Cody Eichert and the Sidewinders. It immediately,
Sidewinder, that's a good one too.
It takes me back to kind of that old school country. I mean, that front man and this group. So
I think Cody Jinks had the best name for a band. It was the Tone Deaf Hippies. I thought, man, that was good, but I can't copy it. So.
Yeah.
I love the group Sounds of Summer they were on. When they were talking, a couple of the members that had a high school band. It was NACL, NACL, and they said they did it because the periodic table of elements. They said we called ourselves NACL, but we really should just called ourselves Table Salt. It'd have been a lot cooler being the band Table Salt than we were NACL. So I thought you guys way overthought that one, man. You should have.
It's amazing what some people come up with.
Oh, absolutely. So, guys, I just want to say, again, we're going to let Justyn play us one more and play us out of here. But if you are, again, look up where Justyn's going to be. Go support these guys. We definitely, here as the school year winds down, I know one of my plans is to get out and help do some promotion of some of these live shows for these guys through our channels. But for everybody listening, thanks for tuning in. And Justyn, I just want to say before you play us out here that I truly appreciate you taking the time out tonight to come out, man. And you're extremely talented, and we'll be pushing you and supporting you, man.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate that, and appreciate having me out, and Forrest for recommending me.
Absolutely, and you are.
This was fun.
You're welcome back anytime. And one thing we've talked about, and we haven't made it happen yet, but I would love to do an episode and get like you and Forrest and Colt and Cody and all of you in here and really talk some music and
be cool.
And see what we could do and kind of hang out. So I'm going to turn it over to you, brother, and you play us out and let us know what you're going to play us.
This was kind of the first one I really did since the band's been started, but it's just kind of a fun tune. I got a lot of cool, country lead parts in it, so this is going to sound pretty dry compared to the live version with the full band, but this is called Honky Tonkin' Guitar Man. It started way back when I was just a little boy, back before I knew about scales and chords. I knew what I wanted to be someday, and no matter what, I'd find a way to get me a guitar, and I'd learn to play. Well, my dream came true when my birthday rolled around. I started right then, trying to make those country sounds. I learned songs by Waylon and Hank. Pretty soon I became a little guitar man with an old school country twang. Now I'm in high demand with a 6-string in my hands, either by myself or with a 4-piece band. I always leave on wanting more. It's a lot of fun, that's for sure. Yeah, life is good for a honky-tonkin' guitar man. There's a lot of folks I don't know that have heard my name, and they come from miles around just to see me play. I'm getting girls that are out of my league. It's damn sure plain to see. They all love a country guitar picker like me. Now I'm in high demand with a 6-string in my hands, either by myself or with my 4-piece band. I always leave them wanting more. It's a lot of fun, that's for sure. Yeah, life is good for a honky-tonk guitar man. Yeah, life is good for a honky-tonk guitar man.
That was awesome. My favorite line is, I'm getting girls that are out of my league.
If you notice my smirk, that is completely false. But it is the impression you get. Play guitar, you'll get girls.
I love it.
I've always been a fan like Jerry Reed, and he was kind of goofy with his music. So I thought, I'll do one like that.
I love it. Again, man, thank you so much for being on, and wish you the best of luck. We'll be out to see you, and when we come out, we'll push you guys, and we'll keep pushing all your posts to all of our fans. So thanks to everybody who listened and joined us tonight, and huge shout out to you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for having us. Hope to see you at the show sometime.
Absolutely.